Well, Bob, it's that magical time of year. It's a magical time, just like Christmas, when we actually have a new release at Octopus Deploy. 2024.1 is out. So I thought it'd be nice for us to get together and talk a little bit about what's new.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've actually been using this release for a little bit because I'm on Octopus Cloud, and I'm really excited about the fact that it's now available to all of our self-hosted customers as well.
Awesome. So if you want to follow along, this is sort of like the cooking show. Here's the
Yeah.
next step. You can go to octopus.com/what's new, and you'll see a page that looks like this. And we keep this updated for every release. And so I thought it'd be a good idea for Bob and I just to go through each feature and kind of highlight what's there. Incidentally, you can also go to individual pages now. So we have this ability to drill into individual releases. And so if you want a more textual representation of what's new, etc., you can get a still description of that. And as always, we can also compare releases as always. So feel free to take advantage of those features of the website. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So the first feature, more secure connectivity to AWS using OpenIDC Connect. OpenIDC Connections is an extension of OpenID, and basically OpenID Connect is the protocol by which you can connect via an identity that you can share across various machines. And this is something that I'd like to show off here. So we've maybe shown this in a number of demos already, but for those who haven't seen this, this is supported through what are called service accounts. So if I wanted to, I could say this is like a service account for background task for whatever I want to do. If I can spell. And
Demo
once
in
you've
live.
established this identity, sure, demo, that's right. Once you've established this identity inside of Octopus as a user, you can then use this as part of a OIDC identity that you can use without the need for relying upon an API key. If you want to connect to Octopus via our REST API, you have to use a API key. Managing those things, expiring them, etc., can be a bit of a nightmare. So what we have support now is for OIDC identities. And so now what you can do is you can actually set these up pretty easily. You can establish an identity. You can connect it to GitHub Actions. You can also integrate it with other issuers here if you so wish. So that is support for this. And what's new, we've now enabled support for not only we built that for Azure and GitHub, as I just showed, but we're also adding this for AWS. So you can actually have Octopus act as a client for AWS as listed here. And so when folks are looking at this, you have to understand that Octopus not only can be connected to, but it can connect to other means. So you can actually connect to AWS via OIDC if you so wish. And so if you want to learn more about this, this is articulated in our docs on how to set this up. So this is done through our accounts. So when you create an AWS account, you can go in and do this very easily through the admin tool. So we'll go in here and show you how this works. So there's our accounts there.
Yep.
And when you go ahead and create a new account, you'll create an AWS account. You'll set up all the provisions. You can establish it as an OIDC identity. And this is as listed as an early access feature. So you can set this up, set up the ARN, and then go from there. And so this is now a new feature that eliminates the need for API keys, which is great. This is kind of like machine-to-machine or server-to-server authentication and validation that way. So great stuff, new in 2024.1.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that just because I know we hear from a lot of customers they don't like the fact that they have to give us basically the access key into
The
their
access
AWS
key. Yeah,
account
that's right.
or if they're doing Azure because we also have support for Azure, all of the subscription and having to set up all the accounts and everything along those lines. They don't have to give us that actual key itself, and so they're really excited by that particular fact. And I'm excited
Yeah.
because I don't want to be the people who have to store that information. I'd rather set up this trust
So you want to
and
have
we go
plausible
from there.
deniability,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah, it's just one additional thing that could happen, go wrong. So yeah, I'm really excited by having this functionality.
Fantastic. So again, you can check out the docs page there. It talks a little bit about how to set this up if you're so inclined and take advantage of this as part of 2024.1. Moving on, Artifactory from JFrog. Generic repositories now supported in Octopus. So Artifactory generic feeds are something that you can now provision. This is, typically what you'd have to do in order to get this work,
Yeah.
you'd have to set up a bit of a workaround through Maven, through our interface, but now you can set this up pretty easily. So you'll find this in the Let me go back to the library here. I'll discard changes. So if you go into,
No,
infrastructure
you were
and,
right. It's
oh,
library
sorry,
external
right,
feeds. Yep.
libraries, feeds, sorry, external
Yeah.
feeds.
Not
My
just
bad.
feeds.
So you go into add feed, sorry.
It
Go to add
happens.
feed, and then inside here, there's an option now to specify a Artifactory generic feed. So that gives us the ability to specify this directly without having to utilize Maven.
I would say pay attention to that layout or regex. Make sure that it matches everything inside of
Yep.
your JFrog Artifactory. Otherwise, you might run into some interesting results, to say the least. Yeah, but this is one of those things that it's been asked by from a number of customers, and we showed on the Maven workaround, and it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It kind of felt a little weird, honestly. So I'm really excited
Yeah.
by the fact that
Yeah.
we can obviously support this type of thing. In my mind, it's almost like supporting the AWS S3 bucket feed. It's just, yeah, we need to be able to
Why
pull
not?
the packages from a generic thing. So yeah, really
Yep.
excited about the fact that we have that available.
Awesome. This one dropped a little bit earlier, but we've talked about it in detail. So building a resilient technical communications with faster deployments. So in 2023.4, we enabled Octopus server to retry failed connections to a tentacle. Building upon that, we've optimized the timeout logic to detect failures sooner, and you'll be able to deploy more often as deployments continue quickly, freeing up resources, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a blog post that we've written that talks a little bit about this. You can check it out here. Adrian wrote a little bit about this, about some of the things that we did. And I've mentioned or talked about this in a video that you'll find on our YouTube channel, which you'll probably watching this from. But it's sort of like the resolution around connectivity. Now, that being said, Bob, there are features inside of Octopus that allow you to do something similar. So if I, for example, go into a deployment process, let's take a generic one like hello, and I define a process here. Inside certain steps, I have the ability of specifying retries as well. So it's not that, it's at the technical level, but
Yep.
there are capabilities that allow us to do similar things like this, like we can do retries, we can do timeouts, etc. But this is more at the technical level.
Yes. Yeah, the retry logic that you just showed at the step level, I've been using because for my demonstrations, I use the serverless version of Azure SQL, and it goes to sleep after an hour, which is good. It's less money that we have to spend. But when you wake it up
Right.
for the very first time, it takes typically a minute or two for the serverless stuff to get going, especially if you're going from a suspended state. And so having that retry logic in there has made a lot of my deployments that were previously failing and I'd run into these weird issues now just starting to work because I just needed to retry it. But when it comes to the technical communications, I love the fact that we've been adding more and more of this type of functionality because, again, we've been talking to a number of our customers, and when they deploy to locations such as, say, retail locations or banks or hospitals or anything along those lines, they don't have control over the network. They have to go over the internet. So who knows if it's going to work or not going to work? Just it could be a gremlin in the network just decides to prevent that connection from going through at that particular point in time. So the fact that we're a lot more resilient to handle that, I'm absolutely excited by. So I'm sure our support people are really excited by that fact.
Yeah, you said something there that I latched onto in my brain, which is if you don't have control over the network. Does anyone ever have control over a
I
network?
know.
I don't think so, but
Yeah. Well, unless it's
right.
truly like I'm deploying from I'm deploying on a VM running on a hypervisor to another VM running on the same hypervisor, then I should have total
Sure,
control.
then yeah, of course. Yeah, then you have full control for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Or you're running something like Wireshark, maybe, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so moving on, improved performance with Octopus Server, upgrade to .NET 8. This one was great because .NET continues to march forward. We're on the road to .NET, I guess, 15 at some point. But
Yeah. Yeah.
there's been a lot of innovation done, especially in the protocol stack for .NET 8. A lot of innovations around network performance, etc. So we saw some improvements here. So most notably, we saw 60 most commonly used endpoints in our REST API. There's an average of 16% reduction in latency, which is great. Biggest improvement was 60% faster than our previous release. So in terms of being able to return result sets, etc. If you want to find out more, you can take a look at the background for this. This is Orion's issue here that he
Hmm.
put on GitHub, talking a little bit about this. So if you want to drill into what this is all about, you can check it out there. This is our issue related for this upgrade. This was a non-trivial task on our part because there were some changes that obviously occurred between .NET 6 to .NET 8. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's I first laughed when we'd linked directly to the issue. I'm like, wow, that's we were really going technical on that particular announcement.
That's
Um,
right.
I'm waiting for .NET, the .NET 10. I wonder if you're going to call it .NET X just to be cool.
Yes, yes, that'd be
Just
awesome.
extreme. No, but it's
Yes,
in terms of performance, it's hard to believe how fast it's gotten compared to
yeah,
previous versions. I still remember
yeah,
even benchmarking stuff on .NET Framework and going, man, this is pretty fast. But the fact they're getting faster and faster is like, wow. It's like, what else can you
yeah,
improve? Type of thing.
yeah. And then lastly, but not leastly, improved page layouts for easier navigation. So this is part of the constant changes that we're making to the UI to try and make it better, to make it more scalable. So obviously, when people start utilizing the UI, for example, sometimes things can get a little bit well, they don't scale as well as you would like sometimes because
Yeah,
everything is getting condensed and such. So now we've got things a little bit better organized. We've got more stuff listed on the left-hand side here. So if I drill into one of my projects, for example, you see we have a lot of options listed on the left-hand side. This is I typically call this a well of some kind, but
yeah,
I like it a lot having things listed here. So you have your top nav and your left nav, which is great.
yeah. It's just a natural evolution of the product. I mean, you just think back to what it looked like when I first started using it back in version 3. It's vastly different. So I mean, you have to constantly evolve this,
Sure.
and I've we're seeing some potential work that's coming out pretty soon, and I was like, this is going to look really nice. And so yeah,
Yeah.
every UI tweak that we can make to make people's lives better, less clicks. That's what I'm always about,
Yep.
and
I
finding
agree.
stuff easily.
And as always, that's right. And as always, we definitely try and make sure that we articulate what's coming. So you can check out our roadmap at roadmap.octopus.com. There you'll find a lot of the features we've already talked about, including some we haven't. So the ability to, for example, cancel tasks. So this is a feature that has shipped in Octopus Cloud. And so these are things that often people want to take a look at. There's other things like related to tasks, where you're prioritizing the task queue, etc. What's interesting about this as well is there's some interesting things that are coming along the lines.
Yeah,
So we have some planned features coming, like deployment freezes. I talked about this on Deploy on Friday. These and other features are on our roadmap, and this is really exciting for me. Some of the things I'm looking forward to include our GitHub app and other things as well. So again, roadmap.octopus.com. Bob, do you have any features that you're really looking forward to? Anything that's top of mind?
that deployment freezes. That's something that I personally remember having to do during the holiday season. We had basically that was the mandate. There would be no deployments during this time frame, mostly because we just didn't have anyone to do the deployments. So having that capability, I'm really excited about. Plus the GitHub app, because I've really been diving into the GitHub Actions, and I know we've dog food a lot of this stuff, and I see
Yeah,
everyone getting a chance to try it out. So soon, I know I'm going to get my hands on that, and I'm really excited by that as well, just because I think our GitHub integration is pretty good, but I know that that app is definitely going to make things go even better.
awesome. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to that as well. One more thing to note is obviously if you're interested in submitting your feedback, let us know. There's a big button up here that says submit a new idea. Let us know what you think. You can also vote on these. So at the bottom of each one of these, you can see that these are ranking order of how important these things are to you. So let us know. I know that the product team looks at this data constantly, and
yep,
so they're really, really keen to hear from you. Let us know what you think. And just to reiterate, you can find the release notes for 2024.1, which is now available for download up on our website. So if you go to octopus.com, you'll find it there. You'll also find it on our What's New page, which is updated for every release, as always. And you can do comparisons, as we talked about in the beginning of the video. So lots of great stuff coming in 2024.1. If you are going to download it soon and install, we encourage you to do so and beyond. So we'll be shipping features as part of Octopus Cloud going forward. Again, you'll find them on our roadmap. Thanks a lot, Bob. Really great to go through the feature list with you.
oh yeah.
And I hope that you all have a chance to download and install Octopus soon. Any final thoughts, Bob?
Nope. As I like to say, have a great rest of your day.